he was saying, did he believe it?
Okay, when you told him the reason why you broke up, did he understand it?
No, he broke up with me.
Oh.
He has this hot and cold intensity where everything's great, and then he wants to sabotage the relationship. He looks for a problem or there's a problem when there isn't anything.
All right, here we go. And that's a big clue within yourself.
Excuse me.
Because it's about stunted movements. In that case, because the energy from you is that you wish that you were the one that broke up to some degree because you're tired of this yo-yo. But now that you've given me that information, I will look at what is really going on.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So this yo-yo effect that he does is really about a projection from you about afraid of having your dream. It's like when you start dreaming and then it's looking back at you and you have it in your grasp, it can scare the hell out of you so you want to run from it. Jen, can you fill in?
Yes, that's true.
Smart ass.
Well, yeah, I mean, working our whole life towards something, and then all of a sudden it says, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, here I'm gonna, and it comes right into your energy field, it's extend, you know, whatever that dream is, whether it's a person, a project, a job, a vocation, whatever you want to call it, and it's like the hand is extended. If you don't know how to process it, it can be absolutely terrifying.
So you both have the idea that you're supposed to follow your heart's desire, but you both need to grow, and that's another reason why both of you are creating this situation, is that you haven't really grown with your soul. You know how to intermingle, be with each other, fight with each other, get back together. You know, it's like a high school thing to the point where you're at the stage of, okay, you know what, I'm kind of bored with this routine. And he's not trying to do it deliberately. It is when you're scared crapless about loving so deeply and then waiting for someone to take it away. And then, so it's like when I was growing up and we were moving, and I didn't want to leave my friends, but the only way to leave my friends was to get them mad at me. And so then I find out that we just moved around the corner. So I was in the same school district, and I had to go back the next day to see these people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to. But there's all these different things.
That's exactly what he was doing. He was trying to make me mad and angry to hate him, but I can't for some reason because I don't want to hold on to the negativity of what he did wrong or what made me mad or why we're not together.
Right.
Because even if I think about that, still the good overrides the bad in my eyes, in my heart,
right,
and in my head. And when he would run away, it was always at the worst, the weirdest moments. And I can tell it wasn't like it was him, but
okay.
It wasn't how I can tell that he didn't want to do that to me, but it was definitely something within himself.
Okay, so look at this. It all boils down to both of you are dreaming. Both of you want to love each other in this lifetime, but both of you also are supposed to grow into more aspects of who you are, getting more of a foundation of, you know, that next stage of becoming that soul maturing. You know, maybe you need to learn something in school, or maybe you need to go find out that you are amazing somewhere, and he does too. But when you get so focused on each other, you forget about the rest of the world around you. It's the wheel of life where you have a career, family, love, relationships, health, and then you only focus on one, the rest will get deteriorate. They won't be balanced. Okay? So you're learning to grow. That's what they're telling you. Both of you are. And so, like I said, just do the healing aspect for yourself. And if he's ever on board, then he can call in too. Or we're soul coaches, so you can make an appointment with us and we can go from there. But otherwise, do your best to understand you guys are both growing. Okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it all.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you.
blessed, dear.
Take care.
Have a good day, ladies.
You
Thanks.
too.
Right, so we'll just take the next one.
Okay, area code 703.
You're on the air with Brenda and Jen.
Hi, Brenda. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Hello.
How can we help you?
I was calling about the relationship with my husband. I've been noticing some patterns in like communication problems, and it's showing up more now during our discussions about our middle child.
Okay.
And I wondered if you had some insight about that.
All right. And it's interesting that it's about with the middle child. So there is a connection with that. So that's what we'll have to look forward to. Okay, so they're saying that there is, the soul is bringing up family issues, not just about your middle child, but about the series of what happened to you when you were younger. Okay, so from this perspective, from yours, about 4 years old, 4 months in the womb, 4 years, okay, 4 years old, the main thing that came up was distrust, okay. What's the subject that's happening with the middle child?
What are we discussing about the middle child?
Yeah, to some degree, yeah.
Is that that we believe he has some learning issues, and we were talking about how we can help him. And
okay, now is he agreeing with you or not agreeing with you?
Well, I think that we, in the end, pretty much agree, but it's like I can see the bigger picture, but he just...
Okay, and it goes back to,
I'm actually thinking the same thing that he is. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's where it goes back to trust and distrust. You've learned to trust because you probably researched and got the information needed to make you feel comfortable for the decisions that you created. And now are you relaying this information, and so he hasn't really got the grasp of the definition like you did?
No, I think it's more like, it's not necessarily research. I just know in my heart that it's going to work out.
Okay,
and
so that's your
he's not
trust.
like that. He doesn't think that way. It's more spiritual for me, so I know that God will take care of it.
All right, it goes back to it goes back to distrust. It goes back to that he does not have that, like you said, in your heart. He doesn't have that, so that's why there's the way the communication is. And so I feel like you as a child, of course, when we create this mirror effect, I'm just having them waiting for them to give me information. So just 1 second. Jen, I think maybe you're supposed to talk, then I'm supposed to. I'm stuck. I can't move.
Well, this is interesting because I just did a reading on this situation, not necessarily the people, but so that it's the Diamond Dreamer reversed, which is the challenger, and asks you to address your perception of the power of materialism. Do you focus on the material world above all else? Have you become hypnotized by the notion that it's the only reality? Have you grown too attached to stuff? Have you come to consider wealth only to be the accumulation of worldly goods? Which is kind of confusing because I understand where she is in this situation. But it also reminds you that disappointment and disillusionment are sometimes the way home to the truth of what's best for you. He may be here to tell you that when you don't get what you want, it's being withheld from you because something better is in store.
Okay, from what I hear is this. Okay, it goes back to when she's a kid. It's not about materials as much as it's looking to the outside for answers to help.
Right, the world, not materialism, or focus on
and I feel at 4 years old,
stuff,
she wanted something like a book, or in the knowledge. She wanted something, and she was told, and see, she already knew intuitively that this was going to help her, but she couldn't relay that to her parents. And so that's the same situation that's happening with her husband right now, is that she knows that this will work, but how do you translate that knowing to the people around you? Because you can trust it, and they don't understand it because they don't have the same feelings or the same experience as you did. And so they're saying that you had this experience when you're younger. So when you were younger, did you feel like you knew what you wanted and then people would tell you no?
I don't remember much of my childhood at all.
Okay. What about your teenage years?
But if I just base on how I am now, that I've always kind of known things that I probably was like that when I was younger.
Okay, and all they're saying is this is something that you're used to. This is part of your strategy. Somebody's going to have to, not detest you, somebody's going to have to stop you and not correct you, but what word do I want? They have test your belief. I mean, this is the pattern that, from what I can see, is from when you developed and it started at 4, is that you knew it, and now they're going to say no, and then you got to prove it, and then they're going to say no, and then eventually there's this game that you play back and forth. So how you got results before, when you knew something, and you knew it was going to come to pass, did you have to feel like you had to fight for it, and then after a while it showed up?
I guess I don't really remember much when I was.
Well, again, you can go back in the beginning of your marriage as well, because I'm seeing a pattern that. Okay, here's the question: do you always get your way? Don't look at it as sarcastic, but do you finally, after a certain amount of time, know it's going to go your way?
Eventually, just because I know things are always going to work out.
Okay, see, so there's this pattern, the strategy pattern, and that's what's coming up because you are used to it. There's like a certain amount of time that has to happen before it actually follows through to says, oh, yeah, here you go.
And a certain amount of hurdles that have to be crossed before
because that's
getting to it.
Because if she got it right away, then she'll say, wait a minute, who's up? Honey, where'd you go? Who is this? You may question your own way of manifesting, how you do things, if it came so quickly for you.
Right. It's what's so crazy is how we create these things in our life. Because even last night while we were arguing, I was just like, why did I make choices in the past that create this?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I even sometimes say to myself, if I wasn't married to this person, it's not somebody I would be a friend with because he's so aggressive, and I'm so not like that at all.
Interesting.
But I guess that's how I'm learning.
Yeah.
It's just crazy sometimes.
Well, it is, but But to answer that simply, it is. This is the parents we chose. This is how we wanted to answer our first. When the first things that occur was a soul, when you're our baby growing up to the age of 7, and is that the first experiences, if something bad happens around you and you don't react negative, you've passed the test, your soul says you're done with it. But if you react in a scared way or a negative way, then what happens is there's another check mark that says, oh, we got more work to do. So then we end up taking and like you said, as far as I would not really be with this guy, but you have the attracting factor. There's a lot to learn with that signature. I had the same thing. I kept bringing in the same guys in my world, and finally when I started to notice the pattern, I then said, okay, I don't have to keep attracting this. So I healed it. I used tools. I healed it out. And then I said, all right, I'm ready to get married. And as soon as I said that, 2 weeks later, God told me, oh, you're going to marry Scott Bates. I am. And now we're going on, we're going to be, in October, it'll be 18 years. So, you can change. And he's totally different than anybody that's in my family. And it was very hard for me to think that I was attracted to him because all I ever knew was the other. And when I said I didn't want to do the other anymore, he was the opposite. And I had to create a new pathway just so that I could recognize him and fall in love with him. So, I get what you're talking about, but just realize that if you heal this, you might be able to start, I don't want to say eliminating, but balancing it out so you can have a healthier alignment so you don't always have to have an arguing about your knowing.
Right.
Okay? Because I know things can change because me and Jen have done it enough times, and our students did have too. So go heal, and learn all about the healing tools. Did I give her anything? Yeah, I did. Didn't I? Did I tell her where to hold? I don't know. Did I tell you any healing tools?
No.
Okay, there we go. Okay, well, we trust that you know what to do, apparently. But we'll give you a little bit more insight. They're laughing at me.
The healing tools are on the website on mwreveal.com. She's going to give you a code for Hope Therapy. So when you go on our website and look in Healing Tools and you go to the Hope Therapy tab,